They say that Alpha is being trolled left, right, and center, dragged like someone's life depended on it after the teaser would be an understatement. A clear reflection of the quality that the audience expects from a franchise that has slowly deteriorated in terms of its storytelling and impact. I genuinely believe that YRF took the audience for granted after the mammoth success of Pathaan, assuming that they will swarm into theaters come what may. The movies that have dropped post Pathaan, there seems to be somewhat of a template of what YRF has to offer, almost as if that movies beyond the confines of a particular aesthetic that involves music numbers in picturesque locations, curated sound stages for action set pieces, and most exterior shots being in digitally enhanced backgrounds, anything beyond this purview cannot be accepted under the YRF spy universe. This is synonymous actually with what Siddharth Anand offered versus what should be the case of the template of the YRF spy universe. Sid Anand brought a certain visual appeal to the world of war. Before this world was even a joint universe, he extended the same vibe with Pathaan. But when this was employed across the board with the movies that went ahead, what was novel once for the big screen experience became repetitive and tiring, and this is the current state of the YRF spy universe. I have a lot of thoughts about Alpha that seems to be adamant in giving us key details about the plot, Rohit Shetty style, almost leaving nothing to the imagination, much to the detriment of the movie. But let's speak about where we are post the teaser and what I feel about the trailer. The teaser, other than the novelty of a YRF action movie with leading women, did not provide us something that was wildly original. The concept of children or capable adults being picked up for a special forces secret mission or to become operatives in order to avoid jail time, to become deadly assassins for covert missions, has been executed in a movie like Red Sparrow. But what the teaser provided, at least in the slightest, was a sense of doubt on what is the intention of Bobby Deol behind this mission. What is his ulterior motive? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Damn, whenever I say that, I think about the meme.
Like a bad boy, it's not a good guys. So I try to be a little bit bad boy.
Or what the YRF spy universe loves the most, a scorned ex-Raw agent, and whether the duo actually share a relationship of a father and daughter. The doubt creeping up, especially due to the dynamic in the last frame, where an eerie happy birthday plays in the background. The trailer, however, scraps away all the doubt, and the major criticism that is really justifiably flung towards Alpha's way is that if you are titling a movie marketing material as a teaser and present Sharvari in the thumbnail too, why did she not feature in a single frame? Why not introduce the promo as a character introduction? And most importantly, what the hell is the Haryanvi accent and baritone voice that Bobby Deol is attempting? What's funny is that it seems like YRF has been taking the piss out of the audience with rage bait posts ever since the teaser has dropped. Wolf ki beti Wolf was heavily trolled on the internet, and this is what YRF posted. The sequence from the teaser that even made me chuckle after watching it multiple times is this extremely over-the-top exhale that Alia does after choking one of the goons, and then YRF posted that exact clip on Twitter. Alia posted the caption that everyone was asking, where is Sharvari, on her Instagram today. I get that the movie and their makers are in on the joke and are taking the trolling in their stride, but I think this might be counterintuitive. I was speaking to one of the producers and they told me that there is nothing worse than a lukewarm response from a trailer or teaser. It either has to be terrible or exceptional, but either way, it should create discourse. And while 6 days have passed since the teaser dropped, and here we are with the trailer, and I really have to speak about elements from it like it were an actual review. So let's talk about the good and bad aspects of the Alpha trailer so that you guys can ultimately decide whether you will be buying the ticket for this in theaters or not. Potential duo. Let's be honest, leave aside women in leading roles, we seldom get to see women in action movies leading the charge, not playing second fiddle to the men. So this novelty will forever remain with me, the hope that this can be genuinely surprising in a genre mostly dominated by men. The important point to note while I say all of this is that I do not create a lower standard for women in action movies. I will be as harsh or critical or ruthless when it comes to my reviews because I stand by saying that when it comes to women in badass roles in action movies, that the trick lies in don't make a badass female character, make a badass character that happens to be female. And I hope that for both Sharvari and Alia Bhatt in this movie. They, at least from the shots, seem to showcase sibling energy, with Alia being the monosyllabic, dry, no-nonsense girl, and Sharvari being the over-enthusiastic chatterbox, both extremely capable in their roles as trained soldiers. The shots of some of them in close contact combat look interesting. Sharvari driving a bike with a grenade in her mouth charging towards her target for me looked pretty cool. But these are extremely fleeting shots which also are admirable at best, not exceptionally impressive. One shot looks straight out of a Sprite commercial, and I think this has to be the music video. They've made an odd choice with the background music using the number Jamaican by Hugel and Solto. It works in portions of the trailer, but I would have hoped for a more original soundtrack. I think this is the Dhurandhar route where Shashwat really popularized using, well, hit numbers and bringing his own spin to them, propelling the sick visuals even further. However, here it's exhilarating in parts but not exceptionally impressive. I reiterate again what I feel about Alpha since the teaser dropped. You just go through the motions. You don't ever have a jaw-dropping reaction, surprises, or exclaim that you saw a shot that you had never seen before. You sit and just acknowledge, theek hai. CGI exterior shots and lack of adaptability. See, this is the internet right now, and even if it is just a fun action entertainer, the trailer is going to be microanalyzed, and we will do the same because we will set the same precedent for everyone. Alpha tries its best to restrict the number of exterior shots in the trailer because the trend of YRF movies and their work with CGI shots has been nothing but abysmal. You would notice many of the shots from the teaser and trailer of Alpha specifically shot in what seems to be bunkers or hideouts so that the makers can make most of the sound stages they have set up. While the shots of the establishment that Bobby is using for his ultimate goal, it may be to spill some disastrous gas or sabotage an entire population or, well, build his own AI soldier army. Who knows? But the frames of them climbing a mountain while wearing what looks like Nike Air Forces definitely made me chuckle. From one of the shots of their shooting days, it actually seemed like they had shot some of the sequences in a practical outdoor location, which seems like the terrain they will walk past so that they can reach Hrithik Roshan. But every time someone jumps from a cliff, especially when it is shot in a heavily digitally rendered background, I can't help but remember an iconic jump from Indian cinema. The problem that only exists with the spy universe at this point is the lack of adaptability. The audience cannot provide you a handout for effort just because the women are kicking ass in lead roles in the movie. The sequences need to be unique, the aesthetic needs to be new, the choreography needs to be intricate and not a template. And a template often deters viewers from raving about a trailer when it's just okay. I was listening to the Mocktail podcast recently and they brought up a great point about the James Bond franchise and how the main reason for the relevance of that franchise was actually its adaptability. The stark shift from Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig got a lot of backlash from purists, but it was done to adapt to changing times where the audience was more than welcome to see a more rustic, realistic and physical Bond versus the man who would strut in suits and be dependent on gadgets when reaching dead ends. The reason why people love War and Ek Tha Tiger is because how visually different both the films are, and yet both movies are enjoyable. I mean, think about the opening scene of Ek Tha Tiger and how practical and immersive it was. Now, after more than a decade, it does not even seem like a part of the same universe. The moment YRF acknowledges that the palette of the audience constantly evolves dependent on what they keep on seeing, they'll realize that the template from 4 years ago can become stale today. We are talking about 4 years. Within a few months, an idea seems dated. So for a movie that was already announced in the slate a few years ago, it's bound to seem mediocre to an audience that has seen compelling action movies in comparison. Fleeting moments of heart and potential. I think Anil Kapoor is such an actor who just assimilates in any world you put him in. So I must say, even though I feel like the YRF spy universe absolutely had no business in killing off Ashutosh Rana's character, I think Anil Kapoor is just a solid actor who does command the presence of a man who can dictate and lead the charge. There is one shot which made me assume can be the penny dropping for Alia's character, about her origin story, about what Bobby may have trained her to do without her knowledge, the violence and deaths it may have caused, of which Alia may just be an operative following commands only for it to clock in way later how devastating the impact was. The shot of Anil Kapoor looking at the martyrs enveloped in the national flag may be the carnage that Bobby has caused. Even though I believe from the trailer that I have got the gist of where this movie is going to go, there is still a little part of me that hopes there is some wild surprise I did not see coming, and you know who I trust in this regard? Okay, I'm kidding, anything can happen in the climax, but I genuinely feel like I've seen the major beats of this plot already, and let's get to what I did not find impressive. The accent and capability. The irritation of the audience with Bobby Deol's accent is not entirely exaggerated. The reason why this discourse has started is because how unnecessary it is and how inconsistent it is. Imagine from the teaser, Bobby Deol saying verbatim, "Isse zyada special ke ho sake." But in one of the dialogues from the trailer, he in Shuddh Hindi says, "मैं जो बना रहा हूँ वो इतिहास है." It's this back and forth between being Jaideep Ahlawat from Patal Lok and then suddenly being Bobby Deol as we know him that makes one really conclude that this need for the accent is just a very moot creative point. It's just moo. Alia in the initial sequence from the trailer genuinely looked convincing in the movement, but because her stature is of someone who is lean and slightly short, I did feel like the shot of her holding an automatic minigun seemed like the minigun was overpowering her. The point is adaptability again, but YRF becomes adamant in following template. You saw Deepika Padukone shooting the same gun, you saw Anil Kapoor in War 2 shooting the same type of gun, and I think everyone has done a version of this in Indian cinema, with Kaithi, with Vikram, with our own Tiger and Pathan. But when someone does cast Alia, I would be inundating the sequences with hand-to-hand combat, making use of her flexibility and agility, adapting to her strengths, adapting to the strengths of the actor employed, versus handing over them what everyone has already done. Jackie Chan does not have the brute strength of Arnold, but they are equally convincing in action set pieces because they do two distinct things rather than one template. I hope one understands where I am coming from. I must say, with all the criticism that is flung towards Alpha of borrowed concepts of La Femme Nikita, with the dinner table scene of being handed over a mission, of Red Sparrow and how capable women become assassins, in all of this, there is this one action shot that is just too similar to deny. And it is where Alia is charging towards Bobby in the air with a knife. That scene is identical to Arya striking the Night King in the Game of Thrones. I mean, there is no denying it. Now I might be jumping the gun, but why do I feel like I know the plot of this movie? I'm going to take a wild guess here and then see this video again when the movie drops and see how far off I was. My first prediction is that there is going to be an uproar about this movie, and specifically its dialogue delivered by Alia saying Sita aaj Lanka khud jalane aayi. There will be a section that will say that this line is offensive, and this is my first prediction. The Ramayana parallels with Ramayana coming this year, it will be a concoction of controversy. It's also interesting that she is named Sita and is abducted by Fateh like the Ravan he is, adding a creepiness to the Apaharan where one was taken away even before one could make sense of right or wrong. ज़्यादा डीप हो गया, इतना नहीं सोचा होगा YRF ने, but anyway. Okay, before I start, I also want to know your theories of where you feel this movie may go, because this is where I stand. Alia, of course, gets recruited at a young age by Fateh, who is played by Bobby Deol. He has identified this factory of sorts where he will create this concoction that may create AI soldiers that follow his orders like robots. For he is the creation. This is his goal with Alpha. The only soldier that he may be personally training is Alia, and that process itself is tedious over several years. It's not practical, and this is where the mission shifts gears, where he can create super soldiers to fight for his cause. Hence, what he makes has never been done in history. Anil Kapoor says, "Fateh ko rokogi kaise Sita? Apne jungle ka sher hai wo." Already making us assume that the penny drops for Alia that the ulterior motive of Bobby is way more twisted than she anticipated. Sharvari seems to be a part of the armed forces, hoping to put some sense in Sita about Fateh's anti-national plans. Sharvari and Alia may be trying to access an antidote that will allow for this mission to not go out of hand, and who will come to their aid to make sure that they become successful? It will be this mysterious man with the most beautiful eyes I may have seen on cinema. YRF really know how to keep cameos a secret, because who is this man? I can't even guess. I'm so done with Hindi cinema now, where media pages literally announce cameos so that they can push ticket sales before the release. Here we have the man just straight up in the frame. My man Ritik as Kabir, possibly meditating as Alia and Sharvari are kicking ass next to him. Alia and Sharvari in their mission make sure to blow up Fateh's establishment and make sure that his army of super soldiers do not create havoc in India. Is he just a psycho on a mission, or is he something very unique, like a wronged raw agent? We will find out. I hope it's not the latter, and that is my prediction of the plot. Alpha cannot just have the upper hand by virtue of having women in leading roles in an action movie. For it to truly cause waves, for it to truly lead to a movement where we will see more renditions of women kicking ass in leading roles, the movie needs to spring up some surprises, because if it turns out like the plot I mentioned, it will generate a mid-response everyone is expecting. For it not to be mind-blowing and for it not to be a complete wreck. The most frustrating position a movie can be in, where it makes everyone exclaim, I mean, it's alright. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the Alpha trailer. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.